You're watching AZAM with Troy Hayden, Celeste Rodriguez, Anita Roman, and Ty Brennan.
All right, welcome on in. I like to stand most mornings, and I figured, hey, why not? But we have plenty of chairs behind the scenes. Ty Brennan,
Ty.
my good friend here, is bringing one
Good
over.
job, Ty.
And thank you so much, Ty.
Do you need help getting up?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
All right.
A lot of
gentleman
moving
you
parts.
are.
Have a great show, you
Great
guys.
commercial breaks. Thank you,
Have a
Ty.
great
Good
show.
job. Honorary member of the technical crew. Thank you.
Oh, goodness. All right, we
Okay.
have a lot coming up for you, not just missing chairs.
All right, so we have a search operation in Tempe Town Lake, and we have an update, something that just happened moments ago on the efforts to find somebody who slipped under that water.
And then a big investigation we need to share with you this morning. There was a deadly crash involving a tanker on the Loop 202. What you need to know as you head out the door this morning.
And a big immigration announcement expected from President Biden. It affects hundreds of thousands of people now here in our country illegally. What may soon happen with them? We will break this down for you. Ty now joining us in the Weather Center. Good morning, Ty.
Good morning, you guys. We're looking for some really nice temperatures on this Tuesday. In fact, we don't get to say this often, but we're actually tracking temperatures below those seasonal averages for this Tuesday. Currently sitting at 83 degrees at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Those winds are nice and light, definitely dying down from where they were yesterday. We did see a pretty breezy day across the state. Clear skies today and pleasant temperatures. And here's what we were just talking about. Our projected high right around 103, our average 105. But do not get used to these nice temperatures. Mother Nature going to slap us in the face with some very warm temperatures. In fact, some of the warmest we could be seeing so far this year towards the end of the week.
It's a slap in the face.
No, especially from Mother Nature.
No, she's strong. Hey, Anita, let's check those roadways. Good morning.
Let me take out the 202 Santana eastbound lanes right near Lindsay. There is a crash right there in the center median, blocking the left lanes of traffic. DPS tow truck on scene. We'll try to get you guys more information as well as a look at all the rest of the roads and your full traffic report coming up.
All right, Nina, thank you. We'll see you in a few minutes. Rescuers this morning were looking for somebody who was seen swimming across Tempe Town Lake and then slid under the water about halfway across.
And it appears they may have found them. Danielle Miller now joins us live with these very new developments here just in the last, 20, 30 minutes or so. Hi, Danielle.
It is. Good morning. So rescue crews resumed their rescue just about an hour ago, and about 30 minutes ago we were standing here next to Tempe Town Lake as those divers were getting ready to go into the water this morning, and then what appears to be a body did come to the surface. So the rescue crews have made their way over to that area where they believe that that body was this morning. So that is the Tempe Fire Department you can see aboard that boat, and appears to be rescuing, they're in that water trying to recover that body at this time. So we do know that they were out here till about 9:30 last night. The search was unsuccessful, so they resumed this search effort here this morning. And once again, about 30 minutes ago, it does appear that a body has surfaced. They are out there investigating right now as we speak here. So not exactly sure who this person is, why they went in the water in the first place. All we know is that someone reported seeing a person jumping into Tempe Town Lake. This was all near Rio Salado Parkway and Mill Avenue. That person was seen swimming about 2/3 of the way across the water before disappearing. Rescue crews with Tempe, Mesa, and Phoenix, they searched this area on boats with dive teams going in the water multiple times for about 3 hours last night. They did call off their rescue efforts right around 9:30 this morning. They resumed their efforts about an hour ago. So they were staging to dive this morning. That's when that body resurfaced here in the water. So we are awaiting further details from the Tempe Fire Department. We also have the Tempe Police Department out here this morning. So we will work to get those details to see exactly what's happening out here this morning. Once we get the updated information, we'll pass it along as it comes in. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, that's not a lake where you're recommended swimming. I know every once in a while they have, triathlons and things that go in there, but it's not that kind of a swimming lake. And, hats off to those dive teams, because I'm sure the visibility right now in that lake is maybe, 2 or 3 feet. So you're not able to see basically at all when you get underwater.
Well, and working through the night. Big thank you to our crews out there. Danielle, thank you. We'll have much more on that throughout the morning. New at this hour, DPS investigates a deadly crash on a Valley freeway overnight. Troopers say it happened on the South Mountain Loop 202, just north of Buckeye. A small SUV rear-ended a commercial fuel truck, and the driver of that SUV, only identified as a 38-year-old woman, died at the scene. The tanker had some minor damage, did not leak any fluids, and it's not clear what led up to the crash at this time.
Fire crews put out an early morning fire. It happened about 2 o'clock in a neighborhood near 19th Avenue in Camelback, and you can see fire crews kind of working through that building. It seems to be mostly intact, kind of an outbuilding or some sort of garage. No word on how it started. It doesn't look like anybody was hurt.
Phoenix police investigating a crash. It happened just off the I-17 overnight. It was called out a little after 12:30. This was a look at the scene here. Indian School in the I-17 at the overpass. 2 vehicles involved, and our Fox 10 photojournalist says there didn't appear to be any major injuries, but we're working to get details for you.
2 firefighters have to go to the hospital with burns as crews to battle a fire that destroyed a North Phoenix restaurant that has been vacant for a while. And you can see that restaurant basically burned down to a shell here. So this is near 35th Avenue and Bell Road. Dozens of firefighters from Phoenix and Glendale. They use their big ladder trucks and their water cannons, and they put a lot of water on this fire to get it out. Investigators now looking into exactly what sparked the fire in this vacant building. All right, this could be big news today. President Biden may make a move that affects thousands of immigrants here in Arizona and across the country.
So it's expected that he will announce a new program which gives more protections to immigrants in an effort that makes the system more fair, according to the White House. Ron, our understanding is that it will affect Dreamers, which, 15 years ago they were in high school, but they're grown adults now.
Yeah, and it may actually have a positive effect on his election prospects. Certainly the White House is hoping for that. With more migrants coming across every day, Biden's new plan tries to address immigrants who've been here for years. Here's what it would involve. It would apply to those who are in the country illegally, but have lived here for a decade or longer and are married to a U.S. citizen, allowing them to apply for lawful permanent residence. The White House says it would legalize about 500,000 people and some 50,000 people under the age of 21. So the president will make the case today that it's an effort to protect people with deep ties and allow families to remain together and not fear deportation. But some Republicans say it could encourage even more attempts to illegally cross the border, with people thinking that eventually they might be granted citizenship themselves.
They're going to try to get these people to vote into the future, to give them legal citizenship, to reward bad behavior.
A divide in Congress is likely to come after Biden puts pen to paper. Republican lawmakers, some at least, have been talking about possibly taking legal action. This move, by the way, could set the table for the upcoming debate, which is now just more than a week away next Thursday, as Donald Trump once again has been taking a hard stand against illegal immigration. And President Biden's numbers for handling issues at the border are very low. Guys.
Yeah. All right, Ron, thank you. Especially here in Arizona, I feel like border policies are really hurting the president at this point. So we'll see what happens. Most polls have him down between 4 and 5 points here in Arizona at this point.
He hasn't really acted on any border issues
Thank you,
the
Ron.
last 6 months or so. Ron, thank you. We're learning more about Scottsdale Police Detective Ryan So, who was killed last week when a gun accidentally fired in a bag.
Yeah, awful incident. Detective Ryan So served in the U.S. Navy for 4 years. He was with Scottsdale Police for 9 years. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children. We spoke to one of the kids' teachers at North Valley Christian Academy. They say he was very involved as a parent. A funeral service will be held for him on Thursday at Highland Church in Scottsdale. Multiple scholarships and fundraisers have been set up for the So family. And if you'd like to help them out, you can find links on our website, fox10phoenix.com.
Let's take you up to the northeast part of the valley here. We're talking about the Riverside fire burning near Bartlett Lake. The out-of-control fire has burned nearly 180 acres. Forced evacuations from recreational areas on Father's Day. Now, this is the second summer holiday. Now business owners at Bartlett Lake are being affected, forced to shut down. The first being around Memorial Day, when the Wildcat fire burned more than 14,000 acres here in this part of the valley. Each time, these businesses, they do take a financial hit.
Most of these are human caused, and that's the problem. I mean, there's really no excuse for that.
So fire crews believe the Riverside fire was started by a legal campfire, and the Wildcat fire last month sparked by target shooting.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of fire restrictions in place right now, so don't be the one who starts one of these fires in and around the valley. Emergency evacuation orders issued for the village of Ruidoso, New Mexico. Massive wildfire there, 5,200 acres. It's called the South Fork Fire. Emergency crews went door to door to get people out of their homes. Shelters have been offered to people who were evacuated. People close by in several towns are being told to be ready now to evacuate at any time as the fire continues to grow.
And then in California, fire crews battling more than a dozen wildfires. The Post fire, burning about 60 miles northwest of LA, caused thousands to evacuate, and this sparked on Saturday. It is now 8% contained after burning more than 15,000 acres in Sonoma County. The Point fire led to mandatory evacuations there near Sonoma and an air quality advisory in the area on Sunday just because of all of the smoke that was coming from the flames. In Sacramento County, the Excelsior fire triggered an all-hands-on-deck response to try and prevent more dry brush from igniting.
Governor Hobbs is expected to sign our new budget sometime today, and we're getting more reaction from lawmakers about the battle that led up to getting this document.
So it wasn't easy to begin with. It took them 160 days to get it done, but finally over the weekend, it was late Saturday night, they did finish it. Arizona faced a deficit of more than $1 billion compared to the $2.2 billion surplus we had last year. Republican Warren Peterson says lawmakers were able to meet initiatives like border security and transportation without incurring any debt or dipping into the rainy day fund. But not everyone agrees. Democratic Attorney General Chris May says the plans to reallocate funds from the opioid settlement are, quote, an unlawful use of these funds, and she will refuse to release them, she says. So we reached out to the governor, and, well, we're waiting for a chance for her to respond, and we'll see if she responds here today.
So there's shoplifting, and then there's shoplifting like this. So police need your help. Here's the woman. They say she walked into a pet store and stole a red dragon lizard.
Oh.
This is February.
So
we're kind of making light of it, but those things aren't cheap, and I'm sure these store owners, they operate on thin margins and
they're
things.
probably really dangerous.
So yeah, I hope she got bit.
And not great for Johnny Cash, because we like Johnny Cash, and she happens to be wearing his T-shirt.
The man in black would not approve of your actions,
No.
ma'am. All right, so this is at a reptile store near 48th Street and Chandler Boulevard. If you know her, you are asked to call Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS. And how about this? Arizona man sharing an odd experience he had during a biking trip. This is kind of our lizard reptile segment.
Yes, which we like to bring you when we can. Video shows him coming to the rescue of a dehydrated rattlesnake. So he's an animal lover. He has, a compassionate soul. The Tucson native says he saw the snake in bad shape, so he offered it a bowl of water.
How do you know it was in bad shape?
Probably very
You
lethargic
look very
looking.
thirsty.
Eventually, the snake was drinking from the bowl, and then after about 50 minutes, the man says the snake just kind of perked up. So it's recommended you keep far away from snakes. The experts in this case say, nope, do not go near a snake, even though most won't attack humans unless threatened. And there are lots of snakes out there that are not venomous, so to say, but they say stay far away from these things.
Yeah, let's leave watering the snakes to the experts.
That's
right?
a doggy bowl. I wonder
Yeah.
if his dog was upset.
That is
Like,
interesting.
hey, that's
though.
my bowl. That's my travel bowl.
Ty?
Troy, I had the same exact question.
Yes.
How do you know that a snake is dehydrated?
There are a lot of snake experts out there. My wife is one of them. She loves rattlesnakes.
Yeah, so how?
Yeah.
So how?
I need to ask her.
Text her.
Christy, can you text me? Let me know how you know if a snake is thirsty. All right,
need
go ahead,
to
Ty.
know.
Hopefully I'll get an answer by the end of
All
this.
right.
Inquiring minds.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. 7:13 on your Tuesday morning. We're starting with this, a beautiful shot up in Sedona, the Red Rocks there. 68 degrees is the current temperature. Wind speeds pick it up just a little bit from when we were first watching earlier this morning. Currently 9-mile-an-hour winds from the northeast. We're going to move down here to the valley. Plenty of blue skies to go around as you look towards the northwest. west through the skyscrapers there. 83 degrees is where we're sitting. Wind speeds fairly light for us, nothing like what we saw yesterday, but we are going to be warming up towards the end of the week. But today we get to enjoy some really nice temperatures, right around 103. And guess what? 103 is 2 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. So some pleasant conditions out there with plenty of sunshine. Temperatures across the valley at this hour, we're seeing the low 80s in Buckeye as well as Goodyear, Phoenix, Sky Harbor, and then we will continue with those 80s into the East Valley, including Scottsdale and Mesa. But we're still seeing those low 70s in Wickenburg at 73, mid 70s in Surprise, and then those upper 70s right now in Cave Creek. Let's move you up to the high country. 56 is the current temperature at the Grand Canyon, 57 in Flag. We're seeing the upper 60s in Springerville, slightly cooler in Show Low this morning at 64, and then we're warming back up, 66 in Payson, mid 60s in Sedona, 66 in Prescott as well as Kingman, and then those low 80s along the western side of our state. Satellite and radar picture really not showing much out there. We are seeing just a little bit of cloud cover through that northeast corner of the state, but all in all, we're going to continue to say high and dry on this Tuesday. And we mentioned it, but these nice current temperatures, they're not going to stay around for long. In fact, we do have an excessive heat watch that has been issued by the National Weather Service for Thursday and Friday for Maricopa, Pinal, and Pima County and portions of Santa Cruz, just because it is going to be pretty hot. In fact, take a look at these temperatures, anywhere from 108 to 116 degrees in some of these low desert areas. Let's take a look at those wind speeds, because those are actually, let's talk about the futurecast, because we have a slight chance of maybe seeing a few sprinkles as we head towards the end of the week. It looks like we won't see anything here in the valley, but we do have a threat along the rim country and up into that northeast corner into the Four Corners area of the state. And that's going to be the same story for your Saturday as well. Possibly even some stronger rain moving in for your Saturday. So that's still a couple days out, but we'll be watching that as well. Now let's talk about those wind speeds. Fairly light and variable across the state, but we continue to see some pretty breezy conditions in places like Bullhead City, 32-mile-an-hour sustained winds there, and also pretty breezy in Havasu. In fact, we've been seeing those wind speeds in that 30-mile-an-hour range all morning long up in Bullhead City. Current projected highs today: 103 in Phoenix, 104 in Casa Grande, 102, and then we'll see those low 80s along the rim country, upper 70s, low 80s into the high country. Here is that 10-day forecast, and we're warming up. In fact, we could see some of the warmest temperatures we've seen by the end of the year on Friday, and it's going to stay warm through the weekend.
All right, Ty, I'm going to give you 2 guesses how you can tell a rattlesnake is thirsty.
Oh, go on.
You want to take a guess?
They're like, help.
It doesning move.
I think the eyes.
Where'd you hear that?
I was guessing.
She Googled it.
Did you Google it?
No, I didn't. I mean, think of my kids. Like my kids, when they're dehydrated, they're like bloodshot and like. You know what I'm talking about?
Christy says that rattlesnakes' eyes get sunken in.
Oh.
Well, how do you know? Well, you have to.
Are you getting close enough to a rattlesnake to see what the eyes look like?
I want to be far away from one of those things.
You got sunken eyes.
All right. Well, now we know. How about that?
Thanks,
All right.
Christy.
Thank you.
Well done, Christy.
All right. Anita.
Can we just say, though, a mama knows?
Yeah.
Christy's a mama. Mama's a no. There you go, Anita.
Thank you. Santan 202 eastbound lanes right at Lindsay. There's a crash right there in the center lane, blocking the far left lane of traffic. In the clearing stages, the tow truck is out there this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the maps. We're going to take those full. If you are coming in from the West Valley, you'll see that slowing 67th Ave to the Stack. Your commute time, just about 10 minutes. I-17 looking much better than it did. Greenway Road to Northern. ADOT says 5 minutes is your commute time coming in from the East Valley. Freeway speeds all the way down the 202 through the 60 into the downtown area. 87 and the 101 look really good as well. We have one more camera to show you this morning. We are going to take you out to the I-17 and Indian School Road. Look at that, you guys. That's a Friday morning, Friday light commute almost on a Tuesday.
That looks really good.
Doesn't it?
Yes, Anita, thank you.
I wonder if people are out of town on vacation or something. But yeah, that is
Snowbirds have gone back home.
really ripping along.
They're watering rattlesnakes.
You're looking right in the eyes of a rattlesnake to see if it's thirsty. All right, so big celebrity news overnight. Justin Timberlake arrested, and we are getting details from TMZ minute by minute on exactly what they know about these charges.
Plus, a new report shows retail sales are rising, but inflation, that is rising as well, as you know. What is keeping you from still spending some money?
And you talk about rising prices. How about when you're on a fixed income? How about when you're on Social Security? So what many retirees are now thinking about doing because they're getting the squeeze. Stick around.
Welcome back. So TMZ here. Some breaking news on Long Island this morning as Justin Timberlake is in now police custody for DWI.
Yeah, we don't hear about stars. He's a big star getting arrested for charges of DUI and other charges. Michael Babcock from TMZ live. You're shaking your head. Are we good? Okay.
Hey,
good.
Michael.
Hi, Michael. Good to see you.
Hey, hey, Troy.
So what's going on with JT here?
Yeah, so he is in police custody right now. Last night, charged early this morning, arrested for driving while intoxicated, DWI in New York, on Long Island, Sag Harbor, to be exact. So we were told he was hanging out at this place called the American Hotel with some friends, and perhaps he was at the bar having some fun. Goes to leave when it's time to go home. The hotel happens to be right in front of the police station, gets in the car, pulls away, and shortly after is pulled over after police say they see him run a stop sign, completely below the stop sign, and then swerving, over the lane lines. They enact a traffic stop. They take him out of the car because they suspect that he's under the influence. He does complete a field sobriety test. They obviously didn't think that he had done it to their satisfaction. And he was placed under arrest. Now, we were actually told that some friends of Justin's showed up at the scene, whether he alerted them or not, or they just happened to come upon it, unclear. But they actually tried to talk the cop out of arresting Justin Timberlake. Didn't happen, didn't work, and he was taken away. And again, just arraigned a few minutes ago.
Do we know what his blood alcohol level was?
No, because Celeste, he refused to take the blood,
gotcha.
the breathalyzer on the scene. Now, it's likely that sometime between when he was arrested last night, which was about 12:30, and now that they did draw some blood, so they could obviously get an idea of how intoxicated he might be. But yeah, refused the breathalyzer on the scene.
Yeah, the way that works is they have a judge generally that'll work overnights, and they'll get a warrant right there, and they'll go ahead and draw that blood. Now, look, obviously, at least he's accused of making a poor decision here. You would think someone like Justin Timberlake would have a driver, driving him around all the time, but maybe not. The fortunate thing for him was, at this point, he didn't hurt himself or anybody else.
Could not agree more. And it's right. It's the question you always ask yourself every time you see a situation like this, whether it's an athlete or an actor. You've got all the resources. If you're intoxicated, why drive? But you're exactly right. Just accused at this point, and we'll see if Justin says, "Hey, look, I didn't do this. I'm not guilty." We'll see.
Or does Uber or Lyft exist on Long Island?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
These days, the $60 ride on the Uber or $150 on the Uber is worth it.
And he's got it too. He's on tour right now, and he's literally making money as we speak, going to these shows. It doesn't make much sense.
Hey, by the way, also, is that shirt also from Abercrombie?
So I just thought when I sat down, I'm like, oh no, I don't think so. I think this one, maybe, I don't know.
Checking labels?
Well, last week when Ty was...
J. Crew?
Yeah, Ty was in, Troy was off, and Ty said, I like your shirt. It has golf clubs on it. And I said, hey, my 14-year-old son has the same shirt. Did you by chance get it at Abercrombie? And Michael says, actually, yes, I did.
Wow. I told so many people about that story. So
Hey, one last question. It's unusual, and before I let you go, to get back to Justin Timberlake. So he's still in custody? He hasn't bailed out? I mean, here in Arizona, you're kind of put in custody for a couple of hours and you're gone. I'm surprised he's still...
Right. He was just arraigned, Troy, so I would think any minute now he'll be released.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Nice shirt. I agree with Celeste.
Yeah, we'll see you Thursday.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. More charges filed after attempts to overturn the 2020 election, but this time this is not just Arizona. We'll tell you what's going on.
And a woman charged after leaving her 4-year-old in the car on a hot day. Find out what the judge said in court in this case. Details coming up.
Right now at 7:30, more Republicans accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election find themselves in court this morning.
So they are indicted on charges related to alleged involvement in the fake elector scheme. Former Attorney General Jenna Ellis, former attorney that is, who was disbarred from practicing law in Colorado after pleading guilty in a similar case in Georgia. And former Trump aide Boris Epshteyn will be arraigned. They are among 18 people accused of taking part in the plan to present Republicans Republicans as Arizona electors. They are facing fraud, forgery, and conspiracy charges. All of the other suspects who have been arraigned have pled not guilty. The end of the legislative session also guarantees the death of Arizona's 1864 abortion law.
Yeah, and that was a near total abortion ban. The repeal goes into effect 90 days after the session ended, meaning now it will take effect on September 14th. So looking at different dates, it will not go into effect. So currently, enforcement of that 1864 law has been stayed by courts until September 27th. So because the repeal will be effective before September 27th, that territorial ban will not again take effect here in Arizona. The current law of the land right now allows abortions up to 15 weeks gestation, and that will be our Arizona law going forward.
A judge denies a motion to lower the bond for one of the teens accused in the murder of Preston Lord. Dominic Turner's defense team asked for a lower bond, saying he doesn't have a history of violence. But prosecutors pushed back, arguing Dominic played a role in Preston Lord's death. The attorney for Preston Lord's parents also did not want the bond to be reduced. The trial is set to start July of next year.
A Mesa mother facing some very serious charges and even the loss of her daughter. She's accused of leaving that 4-year-old little girl inside a hot car, no AC, and the windows rolled up. This is 32-year-old Nicole Yazzie. Police say she put the girl in the car on Saturday outside of a store by Stapling Southern and then went inside the store. Again, the AC was not on, the windows were up. Somebody saw the girl inside the car and called 911. She was sweating. Police say it was 110 degrees outside and up to 129 degrees inside that car. The child was rescued from the back seat. So Yazzie now charged with a felony count of child abuse.
If DCS has come in and taken the 4-year-old, which I'm assuming is exactly what happened when all of this went down, you are not permitted to have any contact with her until you receive written authorization from DCS, and that contact would only be able to be supervised contact. You are not permitted to have unsupervised contact until further court order.
So the judge set her bond at $15,000. Obviously, you cannot leave a child or a pet, basically any living thing inside a car locked up with no AC.
A woman is recovering this morning after being rescued nearly 2 days after crashing her car in Yavapai County. Deputies found the wreckage on Castle Hot Springs Road north of Lake Pleasant. They say that her car plunged 200 feet down an embankment. Crews brought her to a DPS helicopter, which flew the woman then to a hospital in the valley. They say she survived by eating snacks and drinking water that she had in her car at the time. It hasn't been a great year here, and that's an understatement, for aircraft maker Boeing, and today could be especially difficult for the company's CEO.
Because after incident, including one we just had last week here, right? Or was it over the weekend with another Boeing plane out of Phoenix? The CEO is going to be in front of congressional hearings here. And Ron, I know these guys love to sharpen their forks and knives. They know they're going to be seen by a lot of people, and I bet this is going to be a very tough day for that CEO.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of speech giving, and it's going to be pretty bipartisan. Both Democrats and Republicans. You can count on some of those. But the Wall Street Journal has a report now that Boeing is having a hard time getting any of their top candidates to take the head job, what with months, if not years, of scrutiny ahead for the company. Current CEO, a guy named Dave Calhoun, hoping to retire at the end of the year, is set to be grilled in front of a Senate panel today. All of this as yet another whistleblower has come forward. Sam Mohawk says Boeing lost track of parts that were damaged or not up to specs, and that they likely got installed into planes anyway. Boeing stock down $3.50. The Dow itself is up, but not by much, 16 points. New report from the Commerce Department says a smaller than expected jump in retail sales came about last month. Consumers spent just 0.1% more in May than they did in April. So, folks keeping the wallets tightened up amid high inflation. Sales at clothing and accessory stores rose, but business at building material and garden stores, furniture sales all down, and sales at gas stations down, but that's mostly because gas prices have been dropping. And a new survey by Motley Fool says more retirees are starting to think about going back to work. 44% say they are actively thinking about seeking employment, whether it's been a year or 4 or 5 years or even longer since they retired. Social Security benefits have not kept up, they say, with the pace of inflation. That's despite the 3.2 cost of living adjustment in 24 and much higher raises in the years before. So the average monthly check right now is running at about $1,900 a month. And while it's not intended to be a sole source of income, more than a quarter of all retirees, you guys, say that is their main source of income.
Yeah, and it's got to be scary when you're looking at inflation at, for a while, what was it, like 12, 13% here in the Valley, which is crazy, and you're not getting those sorts of gains. You're watching your fixed income buy you less and less and less.
May be back in the workforce.
All right. Thank you, Ron.
Ron, thank you. This morning, we see them all over the roadways, but we take a deeper look at electric vehicles in Arizona.
Curious. So Tesla doesn't talk a lot about this, but there's been a lot of reports out there. There's been a slowing demand for electric vehicles, and maybe that's what we're seeing. So take a look at this. This is outside of a boarded up movie theater in Scottsdale that's no longer in business. These are brand new high-dollar Teslas, even
there's
some
the
Cybertrucks.
truck. Do you see the trucks? Yeah.
They still have plastic on the seats. I mean, these are brand new cars.
Well, if they want to pass one over, I'll take one, give it a spin.
Well, I mean, you have enough cars sitting around that people aren't buying. I mean, I don't think they're giving away, but, they've dropped prices recently. So an EV industry as a whole has slowed down in 2024. Plus, look, the economy's not where it used to be. People are paying more for where they live and food and everything else, and so not many people can afford a $50,000, $60,000 electric car. One analyst says they're not surprised to see this.
You see a lot full of brand new Teslas, and it's getting more and more full all the time. It's clear they are unable to find buyers for these cars.
Yeah, and so, it'd be interesting to see is it just EVs or are we seeing a slowdown overall? So we reached out to Tesla. They did not respond to our requests for comments.
Oh, I think this is right there by the Scottsdale Air Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's a lot of Teslas.
All right. Men's Health Month. Men, I'm one of you. I'm not great about going to the doctor. I'm not great about.
Thank you for clearing that up.
What are you laughing about that? Yeah.
Well, you said you're
Men, well, you never know these days, okay? So we're talking to a cancer expert and a survivor as awareness is spread about prostate cancer. So Celeste will have that interview for us.
Yeah, and we want to encourage the men in our lives to go to the doctor, of course. We love them so very much. Also this morning, let's go ahead and take a look at your roadways this morning. Hi, Anita.
Good morning. Taking you out to the 101 19th Avenue, one of the busier areas of the Valley. If you are heading out the door this morning, taking a look at the maps. So you're going to see that slowing in the inbound lanes if you're coming in from the West Valley. ADOT now says 67th Ave to the Stack. About 13 minutes is your commute time. Indian School Road to the Stack on the I-17. About 13 minutes. If you are taking the 101 from the 17 all the way to the 51, your speed about 34 miles per hour. Very busy there. 51 Northern Ave to the Mini Stack, 10 minutes. It's very busy on the 51 this morning. If you're coming in from the East Valley, the 202 to the 60, freeway speeds on the 60 right before the 87, you're going to see a little bit of a slowdown. That's going to pick up to freeway speeds as you hit the downtown area. Let's head out to the 51, see how things are looking. A little bit of slowing as you see there, some brake lights. That's right there, 51 Bethany Home Road in that dreamy draw area. We'll be right back.
AZAM is back.
Welcome back. So we are celebrating Men's Health Month, and one of the biggest stigmas is prostate cancer, despite 1 in 8 men getting diagnosed in their lifetime. We have 2 guests here in studio with us, Dr. Patel with Banner Health and Brian Hummel. He's a survivor of prostate cancer with the American Cancer Society. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for coming in. Dr. Patel, if we can begin with you, what is prostate cancer and how does one know that they have it?
Yeah, so the prostate is a gland that sits below the bladder. It's the most common cancer in men, the second leading cause of death from cancer in men. And oftentimes there are no symptoms for prostate cancer, which is why screening is so important.
And screening should, as women, we go through screening once a year. How often should men go through screening?
Typically once a year as well, usually with a blood test called the PSA. Which can be done at any office. Banner Health is proud to work with the American Cancer Society to help promote screening for Men's Health Month.
Yeah, and Brian, you've done a lot of promoting of it as well as a survivor. And give us an idea, if you can, what has this process been like for you? You went in for like a well visit type of thing, and then you got some blood work done?
Sure. So at age 50, I started getting PSA tests through my regular provider. 5 years ago, received a scare, which introduced me to my urologist specialist. And then subsequently, we did some what's called active surveillance back then sort of tapered that off. And in October, with my annual physical, my PSA was elevated way above what my previous tests had been. Went in for then an MRI and ultimately a biopsy, which found that there was a very tiny bit of cancer. And so no treatment yet. I will be continuing to do active surveillance, and I actually have my follow-up with my specialist this afternoon.
Good for you. Good for you. And so, Dr. Patel, we were chatting about this in commercial break. Brian's just watching it right now, watching that PSA number. But does that PSA number change on its own, or do you need medication or chemo or radiation, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the PSA tends to increase with age. For most men, PSA is typically less than 4. If it's elevated, that can be a sign of prostate cancer. But with treatment, the PSA will typically go down to 0, and then we use that to kind of monitor to make sure that the prostate cancer is being well controlled.
And Brian started going when he was 50 for tests. Is that about the age when men should begin visiting the doctor?
Most men should start screening at age 50. Certain high-risk men, African-American men, or men with one family member with a history of prostate cancer should start at age 45. And the American Cancer Society recommends starting at age 40 for men with multiple family members with a history of prostate cancer.
Okay, and I have to ask this because we do have a big female audience, but a lot of times the men in our lives, they're big, they're tough, they're strong, and they don't want to go to the doctor. So how can we encourage them to get those yearly visits in?
I think the biggest thing really is going to the doctor. You have to have that conversation to make sure that you are doing the right thing. The PSA test is an important test. It's certainly not, it doesn't tell you everything though, right? It's important to have it to set that baseline, like Dr. Patel talked about. And if it does start to elevate, that's when you're looking at treatment.
Yeah, and I think I remember going to, my grandfather had an increased PSA level, and I would go to his doctor's appointments with him. And I think that helped him, at least. I don't know wives or if you were going to want to go with your husband, but I think that may help too, having somebody by your side.
Oh, 100% for sure. And it's also a very easy test to do. It's just a blood test, and so there's no huge amount of time that it takes. It can be drawn with any other labs that you get for any other thing. You don't have to be fasting, so it's a very easy test to get.
Okay, Dr. Patel, Brian, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for the reminder. And we're rooting for you, Brian.
Thank you.
Rooting for you, buddy. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back. 10 to 8 on your Tuesday morning, and we are tracking some really nice conditions on this Tuesday morning. Northwest, you see plenty of blue skies. 83 degrees is the current temperature at the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Winds fairly light out there, and we are going to continue to see a really nice day out there. Daytime high 80 or 103. Just to put this into perspective, our normal for this time of the year is 105, so we're actually going to see temperatures below those seasonal averages, but don't get used to it. We are going to see some pretty warm temperatures towards the end of the week. For today, we'll see those low 100s here in the low deserts, low 80s along the rim country. We'll look for 90 in Sedona, upper 80s in Prescott, those low 90s continue into Kingman, and then right at the Century Mark in Bullhead City, 102 in Havasu. This we were just talking about, that we have that excessive heat watch that's going to go into effect Thursday and Friday for Maricopa, most of Pinal County, and most of Pima County. And again, we are looking for some really warm temperatures. Some of those temperatures could be topping out close to 116 degrees on Friday. So it is going to be warm, and we're going to continue to stay warm through the weekend as well.
Thank you, Ty. All right, so today, is it National Panic Day? Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is, yeah.
Panicking is never productive.
No, not usually.
No.
But it can be therapeutic.
You think?
Just like you let it out sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Just scream and run around the house.
So which of these would make you panic the most? And I have to admit that the one that most of you are voting on is AC going out. Our AC has been acting kind of strange. It's the original AC on the house. It's over 20 years old. Oh. I'm like nervously smoking a cigarette, you know, like the guy, the shell shocked.
That's a long time for your AC unit to last. That's pretty good.
Public speaking's in there, flying, credit card bill, which is never any fun, and a pregnancy test. Thank goodness I'm out of those woods.
Oh, I remember those days. Beth, you remember those pregnancy tests?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I do.
No line, no line, no line, no line.
Oh,
right?
I was like, line, give me 2 lines.
Oh, you want
give
2
me 3
lines?
lines.
Yeah, I forgot.
Just depends on where you are in life.
That's so true.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you today?
How's the show?
I'm doing fine, yeah. We're talking about, there's this, insurance.com did the survey and asked people, what's your most embarrassing car goof? Number 1, forgetting where you parked your car tops the list, which my mother did that. Daughter Bridget with her 9 years old. Bridget found the car for her. It's got flashes for her. My mother, I don't know how Bridget found it, but she did.
Oh. Hold on one second. We're having an issue with your signal. It's
I'm dying to hear that story,
I know.
too.
Insurance.com, car goof. You
I can
mentioned
relate.
Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. They have that thing now where you have like the panic button.
Yeah.
So you can hit that thing, let the horn get going, right?
This is giving me the panic heebie-jeebies. The fact that we can't hear the rest of this
What'd you
story.
say? Can you hear me?
Oh,
Okay,
now
you're
it's
back.
better.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sit right where you are,
I
right
don't
there.
either.
Okay. All right. No good. All right.
Now wait, didn't you say today's National Panic Day?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Don't panic.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Can't we? It's also National Go Fishing Day. Can we talk about that?
Oh,
That
yeah.
makes
So did you go fishing as a kid in Indiana?
Yeah, I did, and especially up in Michigan, my cottage on Coldwater Lake. So we would go up there and fish there. And I would put the worm on, but I would not take the fish off the hook.
Oh, yeah. There's something about that
The
slimy
worm was
fish.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they swallow it, and you got to go digging around the guts for it.
Oh, for the hook?
Yeah, the whole thing is kind of gruesome.
You're making me hungry.
Fish is delicious.
Yeah.
All right, Beth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a little bit.
Sorry
Have a
about
great
the
show.
technical
We'll see you
issues there.
soon.
We'll try to get those cleaned up when she comes back. So we have entertainment news coming your way after this break.
We'll be right back. Entertainment headlines. Actor Ian McKellen is recovering this morning in a London hospital after falling off a stage during a performance. 85 years old and still working. Good for him. He was in the middle of a fight scene in the play Player Kings. He lost his footing and then toppled off the stage. He was said to have cried out in pain following the fall. The theater was evacuated and the play canceled as medics tended to him. The Tony winner was sent to a nearby hospital where he is said to be recovering this morning.
Gordon Ramsay, who has had numerous shows here on Fox and has one now. Oh my gosh. That's the first time I've seen that bruise. Well, he's showing that thing off. He had a bike accident. Posted a minute-long video thanking hospital staff, saying he is lucky to be alive. The accident happened in Connecticut. He said it really shook him too, and he said, look, if you're going to ride a bike, you got to wear a helmet, because he claims his bike helmet saved his life.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
especially important to get helmets on the kids. So glad he's okay.
Yeah, speaking of kids, Shaun White, if you're a kid at heart, you might remember that name, starting a season-long half-pipe league. It's now called the Snow League. The 3-time gold medalists hoping to pull together what has long been a spread-out, confusing action sports calendar. The first season will start next March, run past the 2026 Winter Olympics. There will be 5 events, all of which will include snowboarding, with plans to include free skiing at mid-season, offers more than $1 million in prizes. That sounds like a blast. Our 8 o'clock hour starts right now.